the girl child really mean?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. So when we talk about violence against the girl child, you've mentioned one, which is, it would come to mind because it's like the extreme form of violence. You know, we have physical abuse. When you abuse a child, when you abuse a girl, and there are marks on the body, that's physical abuse. There's emotional abuse, there's verbal abuse. You see, emotional abuse is any wound you inflict on the mind. It comes through talking down on the girl child. And many people can relate to this because you look at someone, you speak derogatory words at them. You comment about their looks. A lot of ladies have been broken because somebody said something about the way they look. And that's why you see a lot of people going for surgeries, because they've heard all their lives that they were ugly. There was something wrong with their height, with their nose, with their hips, you know, all of those things. So there are various forms. But, you know, rape is loud because it messes up with the mind. It messes up, it's traumatic. It messes up with the brain. Actually, it messes up with the structure and functioning of the brain. And that's why, like you said, it comes to mind when you talk about violence against girls. But there are physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, rape, you know, sexual abuse. You know, rape is an extreme form of sexual abuse. There's a sexual abuse that does not involve penetration. It's what we call digital rape. It comes with fingering. You know, that is also sexual abuse. That's what I went through, you know. So there are different ways by which you can inflict violence on a girl child. And I'm excited that we're talking about this because when people know this, they know that things that we've taken for granted, especially in Africa, you feel like beating a child is, you need to discipline a child, and it's beating that comes to your mind. And discipline a child doesn't have to come with violence. If you get what I'm saying. You don't have to beat someone to get them to do physically, yeah, to get them to do what you want them to do, right? So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, I like the different dimensions. You know, you took the meaning of violence against the girl child. I like the way different ways you took it to. I want to talk about the society itself. Nigeria is a patriarchal society. What role does that play in the confidence of a girl child itself?
Right. So, you know, there's something that's trending now. I just recently started hearing it, and that is positive masculinity. You see, when there is negative masculinity, it breaks the girl child. Like you said, we live in an environment where it looks like it's a patriarchal environment, society, where the man seems to have a head start above the girl child. Yes, where it seems that the man is in control, is in charge, where it seems that the girl child or women are like a second fiddle. You know, they have to bow to. And in our society, girls are made to understand this from when they are little.
Okay.
You typically, in a typical Nigerian household, the girls are the ones that do the chores. They cook, they do all of those things. They clean, they serve the men, they serve their fathers. You do not even have to tell that girl that this is what you are. They see it. You know, daddy comes home from work, sits in the living room with his legs on the table. Mommy is running helter-skelter, the girl has an idea that this is what I would be like when I grow up, right? But when we talk about positive masculinity, we are now saying that a man is showing the girl child that you are as important as I am, right? Not only in words, but in action, in the way they are treated, in the way they are accepted. You know, we are saying that you allow a girl child to be all that she wants to be. Not to say, you know, these particular roles are meant for men. These particular roles there are some organizations that it takes a lot for a woman to lead. You know, I was at an event some time ago organized by FIDA Nigeria, where we are talking about, in some religious circle, only men lead. Women are not allowed to, you know, take certain roles, right? And so that puts a girl child in a position where I'm just here to do everything that they say, right? But when you want to help a girl child gain confidence, express their talent, their gifts. And women are so talented. If you've seen a place, an organization where a woman is leading, you could tell that this is a smart brain, if you get what I'm saying. They just need expression, they just need opportunities, right? So when the society is made to there's a Child Act right.
Yes.
Where it's stipulated what the role of the society is to every child, including girls. When we follow this to the latter, you would see that girls will grow with confidence. They will be more. They will try to do more, right? We need to change the narrative, actually. And I'm glad that women are coming up more. You know, women are fighting for this. They are standing up. They are saying, you know what? It's our time. We can do this. Give us the opportunities. And as girls see women doing that, they would have more confidence. They will step in and say, this is our world. We can do this as well.
Okay, sorry, Joy, from experience, I like what you said at the end now, that, you know, a lot of people are now aware, more women are now coming out, you know, but we still have this practice. Despite all the laws, despite all the awareness, why does this practice, you know, persist? Why do men see a woman, see a girl and think, okay, I need to take advantage of this gender?
The biggest thing is culture. You see, the cultural practices has been ingrained. It's been there for ages. It's the toughest thing to change, including religion in some instances, right? It's the toughest thing to change. And so despite the fact that there are laws, there are legal backings and everything, the culture that we practice for many centuries still stands there like it's immovable. And that is why we will not stop creating awareness. We would not stop speaking. There's this project I was on some time ago with the Ministry of Education in a particular state in West Africa. We're talking about preventing gender-based violence. And in that conversation, they invited men and boys, you know, boys from secondary schools, teachers, male teachers, to have this conversation with them. What did we do in that event? We're trying to let boys understand their body makeup. Make them understand this is how you're wired, and it's the way you're wired is what makes you feel like, oh, I think I can overpower this girl. Because you see, girls could look fragile. You know, the Bible calls them the weaker vessel. Physiologically, a man is stronger than a woman. So looking at yourself, looking at the other girl and feeling like, oh, I have some authority, I have some power, I could do this, and she would not be able to do anything, right? So in that instance, we're trying to tell them that the fact that you physiologically look stronger, right? The fact that your sexual orientation could look stronger does not mean you should subjugate the other person. And that is why we need to keep having these conversations. We'll engage men. We'll let them know about, you know, positive masculinity like I talked about. When we keep doing this, culture would have to bend somehow, you know, because it involves individuals, right? It's the individuals that are practicing the culture, that are practicing the religion. So we need to keep engaging individuals. We need to keep talking about the fact that we are first of all humans before we begin to talk about gender, right? We are first of all humans, and because of that, we treat each other with kindness. You won't say, oh, this is a man, this man deserves respect, but this is a woman. You know, I'm sure you've heard before, right? That maybe somebody drives past on a particular speed, and you look in and you see that you say, oh, you know, like, I mean, what does that mean? It means that you are not supposed to be strong enough to drive that way, right? I'm not supporting, you know, overspeeding, but I'm saying that, you know, statements like that, it just tells you that culture, society says that there are certain things a woman shouldn't do. And that's why we keep having these conversations to say, you know what? No, we are humans. Everything you're able to do as a man, a woman is able to also do it, if you get what I'm saying. So it's culture, it's religion, but ultimately it's a human conversation. When we talk to humans, we are the ones that will change the culture, the religion and the tradition.
Still talking or riding on culture now, there are some, because that was the question I was going to ask, but it's good that you've touched on it. But again, I still want us to address some of our cultural norms or practices that is aiding the prevalence of violence against the girl child, because a girl is told not to, you shouldn't be outspoken, you know, and then when she's experiencing some of this, when she's going through these experiences, she will not even have the boldness to even speak to her mom. You know, to confide in her mom, to tell, oh, this is what I am experiencing. So I want us to also address some of those practices that we do culturally, you know, that is aiding this.
Right. So, like I said earlier, you see, there's, in fact, in some religions, they would say that in some instances, women are not even allowed to speak at all. And there's something called learned helplessness. You just learn it by looking around and seeing, like, no woman is talking here. So your brain does not even give you the capacity to say something, even when you know something, you know. So when this has gone on for a long time, you just assume that role of, let me just listen and do. Let me just listen and do. Let me not present to the table what I have. There are many of them. Do you understand? You've mentioned one. You are not allowed to speak. When men are gathered in a place talking, you are not even allowed to show face. You know, someone close to me lost her father recently, and I was asking about the burial arrangements. It's a particular culture. She said, oh, women don't attend such meetings where they determine the burial of a parent. She's the first child. She said, but my brothers would be allowed. They are the younger ones. And I'm like, really? You are the first child. But because she's a woman, she's not allowed into that kind of meeting. That's another one, right? But I mean, look at that. She's older, she's more experienced. She's the one that works. The younger ones are still in school. Why is it that it is the boys that ask? They don't even have the money to put down to bury their father. They are the ones that will be inside that meeting. The person that will bring the money to say, okay, bye, lashe, mashe, you are not allowing the person in. You know. So you see, all of these things happen. They happen a lot more. In fact, I'm sure that you know about cultures where when a man dies, the widow is made to stay with the corpse for days. In fact, I heard in some places, after washing the corpse, the widow is made to drink the water. I can't imagine that, right? But we, like I said, need to keep challenging these norms to say that we are not moving forward with them. We can't see what the positive result that comes out of doing all of these things. You know, you mentioned something very critical, and it's about women, some ladies not being able to talk to their women when their mothers rather, when they're going through violence. And like I was saying before, if I make myself a friend to my daughter, to say something is going on, you can talk to me. We begin to break these things in shreds, because they are nothing covered anymore. Because violence also thrives in secrecy, when nobody's talking about it, when nobody's challenging it. But we are shouting and saying, when you're going through sexual abuse, I went through sexual abuse for many years, I also could not talk about it, because I wasn't hearing it anywhere that I could talk about it. I didn't know that there are designated people I could talk to. I didn't know it was a criminal offense and I could report to police. And that's why we need to create this awareness for our girls to know that, you know what, there's a safe space for you. There are many NGOs who have safe spaces. There are some governments who have safe spaces where girls can walk in on their own to report violence, to report abuse, to seek protection. We need houses, right, where you'd say, because sometimes sexual abuse happens where the girl is staying. Some girls have experience sexual abuse from their fathers, from their grandfathers. In that instance, what needs to be done in trauma therapy? We say we bring the victim out of the unsafe space. You know, so you bring her out, but where are we taking her to? We need a place that is safe, where she can go and keep her head and go to school and become all that she wants to become. So there has to be policies, there has to be infrastructures, everything that protects a girl child. And the girl must know. You know, it's a different thing that we have all these things and these girls do not know that. You know what, there's somewhere I can run to. There's some place I can hide. Do you understand me? I counseled a girl some time ago after telling me that she's been abused. And I said, you know what? Let's report this so that you can leave that environment. She said no, that she doesn't want to report it, that she just wants me to help her alone. I said, why? Apparently, she's an orphan living with her uncle, and it's her uncle's son that is sexually abusing her. So she was in SS3 at that time. She says, if I report them, nobody's going to send me to school anymore, and that's something.
So how do we break? So how do we now break the culture of, should I call it incest? Because the one
Incest.
that happens within
That's even crazy.
You know,
it's even happening more than we know,
cult
right?
of silence with incest.
Incest. First of all, how to even, you know, reduce the level of incest we have right now? I say it is sex education. Age-appropriate sex education is to sit your children down and let them understand what sexual abuse is. Your children, everybody, boys and girls, this is happening. You must not be found doing this. You must not be found checking each other out, right? And I said to parents, especially those who have older teenagers, maybe you have a boy who is 14, 15, and you have a girl who's 6, and they sleep together in the same room. That is a breeding ground for incest. Why? The boy is in puberty. Hormones are still raging. He doesn't even understand what he's feeling. Now there's a girl that sleeps in the same room with him every night without supervision. That's going to be his first experiment, especially because boys in class are talking about having sex. He can't do anything, but his sister is there. And you know, I tell people that sexual urges does not recognize blood relationship. He doesn't tell you that, don't do it, it's your sister. It's just there in your brain. And so we need to engage children in age-appropriate sexuality education and how to run away from it. Second thing is, we've said it earlier, we need to establish how children can report such cases, even if it involves your brother, even if it involves somebody related to you. You see, so they may not be able to talk to the parent, but there has to be a teacher in school or in church or mosque or something that this girl can run to and say, this something is happening in my house. You see, because with incest, we are talking about diseases that may be incurable. With incest, we are talking about breaking family ties. Because see, when I heard a story of a boy that got her sister pregnant, and the parent got to know it was too late, they were very mad, they were upset. They took the girl out for an abortion. The girl died. The boy said, oh, they killed my girlfriend. Yeah, because they've been doing it for so long. It felt normal that, oh, these people. So it went mental. So eventually they lost the 2 children. So we are saying that we need to talk about this. Families need to have a roundtable conversation and say, this is our family values on sex education. We don't do this, we don't do this, we don't do this. But if this happens, remember, you can talk to us. We love you. Parents are too hard these days because you're chasing money. You're not giving your children the affection they need. To let them know that my parents can handle this conversation if I bring it up. So these are the issues, and they're important.
Okay, let's talk about online abuse, which is on the rise now. How can one now protect the girl child from online, should I call it abuse alone, or violence? So, I mean, first of all, we need to also, parents also need to be aware of the appropriate age. So hand a device over to a child, an internet-enabled device. Because I don't know, maybe parents do it for show off to say, oh, I'm able to afford it. I don't get it, yes. But parents need to know the appropriate age to hand over an internet-enabled device to a child. That's one. Secondly is now educating children on internet safety. To say that you don't share personal information online, you don't respond to strangers online, you know, all of those things. It's important that before you, I mean, let's say, so for instance, in my family, our decision is that our daughters are not going to have an internet-enabled personal. I have just daughters. Why just, you only mentioned daughters?
Yeah, so I'm saying for my family.
For your family,
and
okay.
my children are all girls. I don't have any boy child.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that our daughters are never going to have personally and personalized devices that are internet-enabled until 16.
Isn't that too far?
Until 16. So we say that, what do you need a device for that has an internet? What do you need it for?
You can track you can track their movements. You know,
Oh, fantastic. We'll give you a phone. They have a phone that does not have internet so that you can track your movements with that. If you want to do assignments, there's a laptop in the house that everybody uses. That way, we're able to monitor what you're doing and all of that. So, see, I mean, I hear people say, don't worry, we'll put this thing on D so that we'll be, I don't have the time to control. I don't have the time to monitor at that point. But you see, at 16, she's older enough to handle some of these things that come. It's a lot of violence going on DMs, on Facebook, on Instagram, all of those things. Your child needs to have developed mentally to be able to handle it.
I don't know why I don't agree with that.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Because even if your daughter is 10, 11, 12, or 13, I think you can give them an internet-enabled device.
Yeah.
But you know, there's some
the parental
apps.
control.
No, not the only parental control, because she has said she doesn't have time for all of that.
I don't.
You know, there's some apps that you wouldn't find on that phone, and there's something called education. You know, if they have it at an earlier age, it is easier to educate. And again, when they have that phone at that early age, you must have a timing when to,
definitely
drop it.
Yes. Yes.
Come and submit your phone before you go to bed and all of that.
Yes.
So I
agree with you, honestly. I agree with you.
They understand it better.
I understand, but what I'm saying is there is a reason
we're in a digital world.
We're in a digital world.
So I think this is just family culture.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
understand me? And to say that every exposure you want to have on a phone that belongs to you, you can have it on a laptop that belongs to the family. What I don't want is communication with friends and strangers at that age. That's the only, every other thing is fine. Do your research, but you see, communication with strangers, because children are not able to make the difference that this is a stranger that wants something bad, because pedophiles are nice people.
So at what age do you start to talk about all these things?
No, we talk about it as early
sex education and all of that. At what age?
So if you're talking about sex education, sex education can come as early as 1 year, 6 months. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about sex education, talks about emotional growth, physical growth, and everything.
Yeah.
A 1 year, 6 month old baby has breast, has everything, right? And when you're saying my head, my shoulders, my knees, matter, sex education. But as they grow older, and that's why I keep mentioning age appropriate, right? When they grow older, you begin to now break it down. This is your private part. Nobody touches it. Nobody. So you can start as early as any. In fact, even about the dangers of the internet, you can start as early as possible and increase the knowledge as they grow older. Increase the knowledge as they grow older. You monitor, you do all those things. But I'm also saying that the age by which you give them freedom on the internet also depends on your child's biological age. You see, biological age and chronological age are different. Chronological age is the number, right? But biological age is also the mental and emotional growth. Some children are old but are not mentally ready for the pressure. And that's what I'm protecting my children from. To say, I need to be mentally ready before you are able to handle things that go online, right? And then parents have to really monitor what their children, like she said rightly, there has to be a time where you clock in and clock out with your devices to say you're not using it above this, right? There are some conversations you cannot have, right? I want to know the friends you're talking to online. Do you want it's not somebody you can find any mutuality? There's something there, right? If you want to make friends with, I mean, you go to school, you go to neighborhood, but not people that you can't see online. I'm saying friends, not somebody you just connect with and all of that, right? So it's to protect them, because you see, at a stage, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
By the time they cross into university, I know children cross into university early these days, 14, 15. At that age, you can't have this kind of control anymore. But by that time, you would have been able to protect them to the point where now they can protect themselves, right?
And make informed decisions.
And make informed decisions.
Okay, so for a girl child who has experienced violence and, the family is aware and they are trying to seek help for the girl child, what are some of the coping mechanisms that girl child can, live by, and also what are our expectations from the family?
Okay, thank you for asking this question. First of all, I want to address the family. The first thing is not to panic, and the first thing is not to assume the worst of that situation. Get all the information you can about what happened, regardless of what it is, whether it's physical, verbal, or sexual abuse. Get all the information that you can. When did it start? How long has it been going on? How deep has it gone, and all of that? When you've done that, your role in that instance is to be a support for your child. Let your child know that if there's chaos in the world, my family is my safety. And how do you support the child? Never play the blame game. Don't point accusing fingers and say, oh, but we told you not to go there, but we told you not to dress in that manner, but we warned you about this guy. That is not going, it's be counterproductive. It will not heal her. You see, the first person, especially a sexual abuse victim, talks to is what determines how fast and how far this survivor will go in their healing journey. So you want to be that first voice of hope to say, you know what, I know this has happened, but this would not have to define you. So this child can always come back to you and know that here, no judgment, no criticism, right? But for the survivor, I'm always wanting to say, you are not, your future does not have to look like what has happened. Yes, family should also provide medical, examination, all of those things. When you're done doing that, I would usually suggest therapy, especially for the survivor, therapy for the family as well, because it's a lot of trauma to know that your child has gone through this, especially if you're put in the necessary structure to protect the child, So everybody go through therapy, and now there's a mentorship or accountability circle that the girl can benefit from for sustainability.
This is an ongoing conversation. It doesn't end now. We will continue to talk about it, because true safety begins in our homes, our communities, schools, everywhere around the girl child, and in, of course, daily decisions some of our adults around our children make. Thank you very much, Omotayo Oyawoye, trauma coach, sex education expert, and she's been talking about, or we have been talking about, curbing violence against the girl child. It's an ongoing conversation. We'd like to have you back, soon to continue this conversation. We're going to short break. When we come back, the program continues.